We're all red. Do the.
Oh, yeah. That's the
Okay.
matchup audio. I know, you're a rookie. It's okay.
Well, we've been forgetting to
Get
do
my
that.
shoes in the shot.
Yeah, I
Those
think so.
are. Let's talk about those. What was
You
the
basically have the
inspiration
same
when?
ones.
Where were you at in the store? Why did you look at those and go,
I was on my couch,
that seems for
Amazon.
me?
Like a Amazon.
I thought I should be 20 years younger.
They're good. They're good.
Pop it into the shoes.
Have you thought about...
I've had them for 2 months, worn them 4 times.
I mean, they look very
Well,
crispy
so
white.
you're-
Only playing basketball.
You're really... Okay, you've changed too much. You're buying basketball shoes and playing basketball.
I wore them the other day, and Tanya said, "You look like a high school boy."
High school
High school
boy.
boy. That's hilarious.
You look like a high school bro.
Have you
What-
thought about long socks?
Have you thought
I'm
about
not there yet.
Yeah, you got to get
I'll
there.
never be there. I wear long socks under pants when I mow lawn,
Okay. Practical.
like Grandpa Yui.
it? What
Yes.
was the trend for your guys' era of? Because we had like the black Nike.
Oh, yeah.
socks?
Long black Nike socks. That's what you had to have.
Ours was all no-show.
No show.
Yeah,
No show and
Okay.
cargo shorts. What you're
Yeah,
wearing still.
cargo. I never liked cargo though.
Oh,
Carrie
yeah.
was into cargo shorts. He
Yeah.
The ones
still
with like the
wears cargo.
loops.
Yeah, the same ones from high school, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
the socks
singular.
got so short it was like toe covers at the end. They didn't even go to your heel.
Oh,
Just
you
covered
have
the
some of
toes.
those.
Oh.
I'm exaggerating, but they were so low.
Yeah.
I don't know how they even stayed on the heel,
Yeah.
and that's annoying.
Yeah,
You
I do.
literally
I
have
those.
some of those. Like it's, I mean, seriously, like the top of your foot here is like showing.
But is that for like women's shoes that show all the way down?
Oh,
Well,
probably.
I don't know. I always when the white shoe trend was coming back, but they were the what are they called? Like the
The Vans,
no,
the shoes,
yeah, like the Nikes, but they're the Nike. What are they
slides,
called? No, but it is like it's like a low rise version of the shoes.
low
and,
rider.
Yeah, they just didn't want the socks to show for some reason. I don't know. I
We were
use them randomly.
very just high, like it was like high black Nike socks, but then it's just like shorts and t-shirt.
or black socks with the slides.
Yes, slide sandals, like Adidas slides.
With the socks.
Yeah, but then I guess there was the prep people too.
You guys were kind of in between where my class was and where they are now. Because now, if I go to schools, every student is just wearing pajamas. Like, they don't even care anymore.
Really?
Oh my god.
Where, like, when I was in school, it was like the first day of school, you wore your nicest pair of jeans, a polo
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, you know,
Dress
as the
to
year went
impress.
on, you did whatever.
Yeah.
But most people still wore their best. And now it's,
Oh my god.
if you're not rolling out of bed, walking to school with plaid pants,
Like you try too hard.
yeah,
then.
you tried too
Yeah,
hard.
if you're trying, you're a loser. That is
The
crazy.
last time I went into a high school was like every kid just was in pajamas.
And you're like, is it like one of those weird pajama days?
It was like a Wednesday.
Yeah. Is
Like a
this-
Spirit Week.
Yeah, is this Spirit Week?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I used to when we would go to Piggly Wiggly for your generation. They were wearing like regular T-shirts, but they would have a T-shirt underneath of a different color,
Oh yeah.
and then they'd roll up
Yep.
the sleeves.
Yeah. You layer
I
your t-shirts.
Was so pumped of. I thought when you go in high school, you get to do that. Like it was a high schooler thing.
Yeah.
So
like, I
I'm
gotta
like,
be old to do that.
okay, so when we get to be in high school, we're gonna do the whole roll up the sleeves
If
thing.
you were super fancy, and even the American Eagle mannequins were this way, you wore 2 polos.
Oh,
You layered your polos,
That is
or
crazy.
you wore a polo under another collared shirt.
That is
and then they would do the roll, or no, it was
roll
just
the
double up.
sleeves.
Well, you could pop both. The sleeves didn't matter. It was the collars.
collar.
Yeah.
So funny. I remember going to church, and I don't think it was like actually going to church. It was whatever extracurricular whatever after that, and I would do that because you had to wear like some t-shirt church thing, and I'd wear a white one under it and then roll the sleeve. So it was like a light blue shirt and then a white under it, and I'd roll the white over the blue so that I had like a little white accent going on.
Yeah, that's what I thought. When you're in high school, you do that.
And that's when I had long hair and got called a girl at church. some old lady was like coming up to Carly and I. She's like, "You ladies look so nice today." It's like, oh, okay, I gotta
Back
cut
in the
this
purple hair
hair.
days,
No, not purple hair days.
you just had long hair.
Yeah. Do you remember when I dyed my hair black? She always calls it purple hair because it looked purple.
I remember when you dyed it brown, and I think that was the same time I gave you like a haircut, and I totally took your chops off and like shaved it all the way up here and back.
Did you? I remember the one time you were cutting my hair and you cut it into a mullet and you're like, "I'm done." And I was like, "No, you're not." And I just started to get so freaked out. You're like, "Yeah, no, it's good. You're gonna do a mullet now." It's like, no, don't do that.
What's your thought on those shoes? The big toe, the
Oh,
wide
you,
toe.
you have some.
I don't have those. I showed you those, and then you bought them, so I had to buy a different pair.
This is not
So-
what happened.
My thoughts are, I used to like them when I was going to buy them.
These exact ones I bought, and he went, "Oh, I was looking at those, and I liked them."
Nope, I showed you them when you were up at Christmas. Said I was going to buy them.
Just call me a thief.
We came down at spring break, and you had them.
I don't remember that happening, but
And
They
there's only
probably-
like 2 colorways of that too. So if he showed you those exact ones, like
Yeah,
there's
and
no
those,
other
that's
options.
the only cool color option.
yeah, the other
Yeah.
one was like
White and
black with,
Yeah.
I think, white on this.
yeah,
But
I
you
like
have
them.
some. Not these, but
Not those, but yeah, other wide toe box.
did you notice anything with them?
I mean, they're more comfortable because it's not pinching your toes
Your
together.
toes? I feel like I started walking a little different because there's like no cushion.
Yeah, I think more people
You're
tend
gingerly.
to walk on the balls of your feet like you should versus your heel first.
Yeah.
Are you concerned with that with the kids and their shoes, or is it just are they barefoot a lot?
I don't know that when you're super young it's a big deal, but I mean, I think once they start playing certain sports, to try to get them the correct shoes for those sports. Like
Sure.
Riley asked she got a pair of toe shoes for her birthday.
Oh,
Cool.
cool.
So and they all like sandals, flip flops, so those are super flat, but
Yeah.
otherwise like their gym shoes are, the cushy heel
Yeah.
type of shoe, which
Yeah.
Well, and there's they maybe don't really know how to not stomp and like if they're running around and whatever, or it's like you put them in basketball. Are you going to be the
Right.
parents that have your kids wearing wide toe box shoes playing basketball that
Peyton's gonna be in Chucks, I think.
in Chucks?
Chucks.
Yes.
That'd be sweet.
I
That
almost
would be
bought her
good.
some Chucks for her camp, but
Yeah.
it's like, 4 days, let's lay off the
Yeah,
Chucks
yeah.
for a second. Make sure she likes it first.
Yeah.
You get her like all the gear. You're the parent that's like, yep, we spent hundreds of dollars to make her look cool here.
Yeah.
Is she gonna be good? Who knows?
At 1 hour.
But she looks the part.
And she's so uncomfortable the whole time. She's like, "Dad, these shoes. They're just
The Larry
squeezing."
Bird socks.
Oh my god. Yes.
I feel like kids are typically barefoot enough to where it doesn't
Yeah.
cause issues. I think you probably want them to be doing that because their kids or their feet are developing that way, but they're growing out of their shoes constantly. That
Yeah.
what are you going to
Oh,
get
yeah.
them expensive,
Exactly.
what are they called? The zero shoes or something?
These, yeah. These are
That-
0. Yeah.
To have them, I don't know. I think there's a balance with that.
Yeah.
Especially here, especially if they can be outside and walk in the grass and be barefoot or in sandals. I think that's a better option than having shoes on anyways, but if you're getting them shoes randomly. Are they both in gymnastics and they're not in swim anymore?
Nope, they're done with swim, just gymnastics now.
And did they want to do gymnastics or was that like we'll try this and see?
Peyton started it. I think we asked about it and she said, yeah.
Okay.
But I've also heard that that's the one sport you want your kids to start in and stay in
Mm-hmm.
until they develop, coordination, learning how to fall,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
stretching and mobility.
Yep.
And then to branch off into the other, more specific sports. But
I wish I
They
would have
both
done
like it.
gymnastics.
Tanya and I talked about doing an adult
Adult.
gymnastics
Yeah.
class.
That
Yeah.
would
Oh,
be
yeah, that's
sweet.
right. That would be
sweet.
cool.
Well, because it's so
Obviously, I
hard
need
to reverse
stretch,
that.
so.
Yeah.
What?
How is that? Your torn hamstring?
Oh,
getting better.
yeah.
I can see a
Better.
little
Yeah.
action
The
there.
bruising.
It's starting to itch.
Really?
Yeah.
'Cause the skin is
And I
healing?
looked it up, and that's part of the healing process. Like the histamines go to that area to help heal, and it itches, and the skin is stretched from swelling, so it itches.
Oh my
Oh,
Yeah,
god.
so the last
weird.
couple of days it's been very itchy,
That's
which
funny.
is unique.
And you're like, it's feeling better though. It's not.
Yeah, it does feel better. I sometimes I forget about it and I'll do something and it'll
Catch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go to pick something up because it's not feeling a certain type of way, and
Yeah.
then it tweaks it. But end of the day, usually I can tell that it's still sore.
Yeah.
But that's what you said though. If it is starting to heal within these next couple or this next couple of weeks, then you won't have to go get it checked out.
Then you wouldn't have to go do any physical therapy
Sure.
or anything.
That's good.
I just have to slow down so I don't
Yeah.
re-injure it
Oh my god.
too fast.
I feel like that's something that you talk about all the time teaching now. Is like we're active, but we're not jumping. We're not doing ladder drills. Like we're not active in that way.
No.
That then he'll go to demonstrate for the kids. He's like, wait, I haven't done this in
Oh
a
my God.
decade.
I did like really basic jumps to show them yesterday of like what I was wanting them to do. And I think it was the last class that I taught. And my left glute just was like, we're tight and sore now. And just was bothering me the whole time. All I could think of was you. I was like, I better not have just tore my fucking glute. And he's like, no, he said that it hurt really bad. This doesn't hurt really bad. I was just like, all I was doing was like on one foot, jump to the side. And my left glute was just like, I'm here. Like, oh my God, this is annoying.
Are you getting close to 30?
26. Not really.
Yeah, you're basically 30.
Basically.
Do you
That's how I
feel like,
feel.
You're over mid-20s.
well, we'll see.
What's next? 30.
Let's not start stressing right now.
Do you think that is the turning point for you? Are you old now?
No.
No?
When did that start? Is there a
Was it
does
before?
that stress
Having
you
before?
out?
It didn't stress me out in terms of, oh, I'm old because I got hurt.
Yeah.
It was more, it was more upsetting because we were
You're on a vacation.
midway through vacation,
Yeah.
and now I can't do stupid shit I
Yeah.
want to do on the rest of vacation.
I can't even go upstairs
Right,
without
like-
pain.
So that was more stressful. No, I still feel good.
Because I feel like it's like that stat you talk about of sprinting. What is it, after 30 or something?
Yeah, it was
Oh, like
something
people
I
don't know
heard
how to
after,
sprint or-
after 30 or 35, a large percent of people don't ever sprint again. Don't
Yeah.
ever do a full out sprint. And
Which, like,
that was something that I was like, nope, that's going to stick in my mind, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do as
yeah.
best as I can to always. And sprint is relative too, because a 15-year-old sprint is going to be different than a 60-year-old sprint, but the act of attempting a sprint
Yeah.
or
I'm
running
trying
as
to
fast
go.
as you can,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
safely.
Yeah. I think like people, like that will happen, and then people are like, oh shit, I'm old now. Like, I can't. Well, and that was the thing. Somebody said something about like warming up. Like, well, were you warm? And you were like, we were running around doing stuff the whole
Yeah,
time.
swimming all afternoon.
Yeah.
So what's better for a warm up than just swimming?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, this is a anomaly.
Yeah, that's so weird.
We-
Oh,
Will you just check the mic volumes? I feel like just want to make sure with the wind and everything that everything is
oh
sounding
yeah,
correct.
we're fine.
What was your thought process? Or not. I mean, not. Maybe it is change or it did adjust, but in your 20s, because like we're in that phase of like, okay, we're now early 20s. You have a different mindset to now in the middle, and now we're transitioning into our 30s, and that means something different. What did your 20s look like? Because I think we're told a certain thing of you have to be doing certain things and live a certain way and take certain jobs or date certain people or whatever, that I feel like we're a little bit more aligned, I feel like, with how we handled our early adulthood. That what was your mindset with that? And was there any stress of, oh, I'm getting older, so
I
that
didn't know
means I
this
have
was
to
going
do
to be like the young people asking the old person, what does it feel like to be old questions.
No.
We can go there. So 20s, I don't know. I don't feel like there's been a huge difference. Obviously when you're in your 20s, you think, oh, mid 30s, that's old, or I'll be getting old. That's close to 40. But where I'm at now, I enjoyed my 30s much more than I enjoyed my 20s. For sure.
Yeah.
And I always remember when I was turning 30 and people would ask, oh, how's it feel to turn 30? Do you feel old? And I always said, no, I don't feel old turning 30, but I'm going to feel old turning 40. Like 40 is that. And that's the over the hill age that they call
Sure.
it.
Mm.
But now that I'm 38, I don't think 40 is going to
You're gonna push it down to
feel a
50
certain
and then
way.
60.
Then I'll say, well,
Yeah.
maybe 50 will feel old.
Yeah.
But I better be retired by 50. So then I
Yeah.
can just do what I want.
Yeah.
I think as long as you try to stay active and be as healthy as you can and do things you like, you're always going to feel,
Feel younger.
yeah, a certain way. I mean, I can see why people may feel old, but maybe that's the way they've lived that is
Yeah.
making them mentally
Yeah.
feel that way.
Yeah, you start to just like you hear all of that of like, oh, you're getting older, and then I think you start to, well, I'm getting older, so I should slow down. I should stop doing stuff, or I'm not going to go to dinner anymore with people, or I'm not going to do this, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're literally getting older because you're canceling out social life. You're not as active anymore. You're like, you're not going out on the boat on a lake or
Right.
like you're just not doing shit. You're just at home doing nothing. It's like, yeah, you're going to age rapidly
Well, and
then.
having kids is a dynamic too, because, if you want your kids to be active, then you have to also
Mhm.
participate, or at least I think you should.
Yeah.
You can certainly sit on the sidelines and just have them do it, but it's not setting a great example
Right.
to have active kids. So, but also, if you have the ability, get away from your kids from time to time. If you have friends or family that can watch your kids, then go out and do something.
Yeah.
I feel like you and Tanya have done a really good job of that. Of like, they're fine with grandma, they're fine with someone else. We're gonna go to dinner, or we're gonna go get drinks, or we're gonna go to Madison and do something fun. Is that something that before you guys had kids, you talked about instilling or keeping?
Not really. I mean, we didn't, set up like a plan of, when we have kids, we need to make sure that we're still hip and young. I
Yeah.
think it's, kind of our personalities, and, we're fortunate enough to have enough family around that's our same age range that, either have kids or started having kids after us or don't have kids that still want to be active. So we can somewhat glom onto that once in
Yeah.
a while. But, the kids want a break from you too.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
not just that Tanya and I, oh, we need to get away from the kids. When we say, hey, you're going to spend the night at grandma and grandpa's or,
Thank God.
aunt and uncles or whatever, they love it. They're
Yeah.
happy too.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's get away for a weekend. And so I think that's a benefit. And, the kids, it's good for the kids too.
Yeah.
Be comfortable away from mom and dad for
Yeah.
a weekend. Or, I mean, Tanya and I have done almost a week away, and it's
Yeah.
been fine. They have a blast.
Yeah.
So,
That's, you never think about it from that perspective. Like the kids want a break.
yeah.
God, Dad's
Well,
such an
'cause
asshole. I'm sick of him.
They almost
get
get to
away.
like test out what they have learned in a way. Like they can then go to someone else's house and go, I'm my own person here. I'm
Mhm.
not me with mom and dad looking around the corner, testing my every move and checking to make sure I'm doing everything right.
Yep.
Like I kind of get to just see how I want to be and how can I represent myself to this person or to this person. I'm with my cousins and that means something different. That autonomy, I think they love that. So then they get to test that out between different people.
Yeah.
But
And like adults, now they can tell their stories to someone new who hasn't heard it 100
Yeah, no
times.
kidding.
Like,
totally.
Yeah.
when you
Totally.
guys come to visit, everyone
Yes.
gloms onto you because it's like, have I told you this yet?
Yeah.
Knowing that they've told everyone in their inner circle
Right.
already
Right.
100 different
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I know, isn't
the
that funny? Like
Kids
kids,
are the
kids
same.
are the same.
Kids are the
they're just
same.
people.
They're just smaller, real humans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
I feel like you kind of hit your adulthood, like you hit the ground running. Was that something that you
Like you grew up fast. it seemed
planned
like.
on? Are you like, because I feel like I was the same way. I was like, I'm going to graduate and we're going to be an adult right now. Is that something you pre-planned, you thought about, or did you just fall into that? And then you were like, I'm just going to keep this rolling.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't planned. I kind of knew the career path I wanted to go, so that was easy for me. And I think that career path if you want to be successful, you kind of have to grow up fast. So you have to be responsible if you're in law enforcement at 20 years old.
Yeah.
You just have to be responsible. So that kind of took me down that avenue. And, you know, sometimes I think, oh, I should have, you know, maybe had more fun in college or should have traveled more when I had more freedom. But I kind of like that I went that path first. And now that I'm
More established.
almost 20 years in, that now I can have fun when I can have fun responsibly and afford to have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, you know, I'm not saying one way or the other is better, but I like how it ended up working out.
Cool.
Well, and I
Cool.
think I look at people that are our age or maybe even a little bit older, and I'm like, I like where we're at versus them because I feel like we're a little bit more grown up. Like the things that our age people are struggling with, it doesn't seem like we're struggling with at all. It's like people are having a hard time dating and being in relationships, and they don't know what to do with that. And I'm like,
We're 6 years
we've
old.
had no issue with that. It's like we just grew up quickly, I think, with that. And I don't know, like I'm the youngest, so I've always tried to play catch up to you guys.
Mhm.
That it's like, well, you guys are in relationships, you're having kids, or you're married, and you're doing this thing, and it's like, well, I need to grow up then so I can do that stuff and then be able to have the same, like be able to have conversations about it. It's like, how can I talk about dating or I don't know, anything? Not that we like talk about relationships all the time, but like, how can I relate to you guys at all if I'm out partying with a bunch of friends and whatever? I'm like, you guys fucking go to this bar ever? And
Yeah.
it's like, no, we don't go to bars. Like,
Yeah, we're in
hang
bed
out.
by 8:30 because we have children.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, oh yeah, and that's never really interested me anyways. Probably because I've seen what you guys have done, but it's like, I'd
And-
rather relate. And I don't have friends. Like my friends are the family.
Right.
Mhm.
Like that's all that I hang out with, and that's I don't want friends. Like I like just being. If I have extra time, I'm gonna hang out with family. I'm
Right.
not gonna do the friend thing. So it's like, how can I be more relatable to you guys and family and your family? It's like,
Especially you being the youngest, that plays a huge role.
yeah,
Because you're always kind of, again, doing the catch up thing. I think maybe that's where the difference or issue could come in is I think we're always comparing ourselves to people our age, or we had the same kind of idea of, I want to hit the ground running and kind of hustle in the beginning, build a life, and then be able to enjoy the adult life
Mhm.
things, but not having the stress of can we afford that and paying for shit and getting to do the luxury things and know that we can handle that and we have everything set up versus, well, we'll have fun now and then we have to start kicking into gear. Like, let's just do that from the jump. But you being the youngest, you're seeing everyone older than you. You're like, well, now I should have a house. Now we should have kids. Now we should do all this, even though we're still younger than what they were.
which I still like.
But it's still a good, like, we're reaching for that.
And I like that so much more than what our age group is doing now anyways. Like I'd rather have a house and chill, and I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the game, which like I like running from the front. I don't
Mhm.
like feeling like I'm
Right.
behind. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up the youngest, so it's like I've not always been running from behind, but I compare myself to you guys more than I do my age. Like
Sure.
growing up through school, I wasn't like, oh, this person can do this and is able to go do that or whatever. It was like, well, my brothers are doing this and I want to go do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be more mature, or I'm going to try to get way better at sports so that I can compete with my brothers. I want to play
Yeah.
basketball with my brothers. I don't want to play basketball with you. Like I'll kick the shit out of you. I don't care. I want to compete against them because that's more fun.
Yeah, and I think you guys are fortunate too with what you're doing for a living, that you can be responsible, have jobs, and also be able to travel, because I know that's a big thing
Mhm.
with, younger people is, well, I need to have a job, but I want to travel and I want to see
Yeah.
things and I want to do things. And you guys have been able to find that good balance and combination of, we can travel for work, enjoy some of the things we haven't seen before, but still use that as part of,
Yeah.
We get
making
paid.
a living and
Yeah.
Yeah.
starting out. That's why I really sometimes wonder, oh, should I have gone into the military because it affords you that ability to travel
Yeah.
while, um, creating a career or
Mhm.
making a living and,
Yeah.
establishing some responsibility in your life, some accountability, at the same time. Law enforcement somewhat parallels military in that aspect without the travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing all the high end stuff, but in one location. And
So now that
then
I'm
you can't leave that location either because now
Right.
you're tied into that system.
Yeah. So I think that's
the
the
exact
one thing
opposite.
that now that I'm older, I try to squeeze in more of like, I want to go out and do things,
Yeah.
go see different places. And
But
I
do you
think you
think
do
you'd
a good
rather
job of
do
that.
it? It seems like it. Like, well, now I'll just take my family and go do that.
yeah, now that I'm older, I'd rather
Like,
go
that's
do
more
those
fun.
things with family than
Yeah.
with
6
a,
girlfriends.
a bunch of guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on a ship or whatever
Yeah.
else. But
Yeah.
Do you feel like the birth order thing has any effect on you?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you believe in like
think
the birth order
like, 'cause
stuff?
I'm the oldest, he's the youngest. You're one of the oldest. Do you think that had any duties attached to it, responsibilities? Like you had to act a certain way because you were the oldest?
I don't know. I mean, when they talk about like birth order and then the gaps between siblings, I would be considered the middle child. So, and I don't know if I subscribe to any of those theories of, the firstborn acts a certain way or has a certain personality, then the second, and then
Yeah.
the baby or the third or fourth.
Yeah.
I think some of those, when you hear about them, you recognize it, so you think that it rings true.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, long term, when you look at, just our family, for example, we still, while we have minor differences, all subscribe to basically the same values, basically the same wants, the same needs, the same goals, the same aspirations. So, does the order mean anything, or is it just how you grew up, what your influences were?
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I subscribe to any birth order, youngest or oldest. I mean, certainly it probably can make a difference, and maybe the youngest would have a different view. But
you didn't feel like you ought for them. Like for me, the oldest, I always felt I'm the one that's supposed to take the chances and figure the shit out so that my sister could come in and she has all the answers or has somewhat of a guide. Like I'm supposed to be the guide of the family. No one told me to be that way. That's just like
Yeah.
what I thought to do. That did you think like, oh, I should be taking care of them, or if they need help, like I can be the one that gives.
I felt like I always
Advice.
wanted to set a good example, but I don't know that that was a I don't know that that was because I was older, because even with an older sibling, you still have that want to set a good example in some way. I think it's
Oh,
more just
interesting.
setting an example for anyone around me.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you just kind of
Yeah,
saw
it
it as
is.
like, I'm a piece of this family, so I need to represent my
Yeah,
own
I think
piece.
it's more of a, I don't know if it's a tribe thing or a pack thing, but you try to represent in a positive way.
Yeah.
Your family, and we had a big family and grew up in a small town, so everyone knew the last name.
Yeah.
So when it was that last name came up, what were they going to say about that last name?
Yeah. 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 Did
And you
you?
don't want to be the one that's like, well, but then there's also this
You don't
one
want to be
over
that
there.
guy,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Right. Did you? That's interesting. I never felt anything really with the last name. I think, and it
That would be
maybe
something interesting to talk to Carly about. Because I
yeah,
feel like she would say differently too.
because I don't know if it was just I was so much later than you guys that there might have been turnover in the school. There might have been. I think it was. It's like older people would know. Oh, you're a pastor or whatever. But how am I trying to say this? Like,
I mean, there's a decade removed.
you're right. Yeah.
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 I don't know. I think I had the same view of like, well, I'm a part of this family and we're in this town and it's like people know of us, so don't be a jackass. Like there was embarrassment if I did something and then like people started to find out about it. It's like I get an underage and people find out. It's like, oh, that kind of sucks. Or I'm throwing another temper tantrum on the court or some shit. And it's like, well, that's a representation of the family. It's like, I don't feel good about doing that. But I didn't have the I need to uphold the name type of feeling about it.
I wonder if that's because you were removed from us first three, because we were back to back to back.
Mhm.
Right.
And then there was several years, and then Carly.
Yeah.
And then several more years, and then you, where when it was, Casey, me, and Carrie coming up through school somewhat all together,
Mhm.
Yeah.
in succession, that it was just kind of that name that kept coming.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember, there's always rumors in school, but there was rumors about, the Passer family. They've got 3 boys coming up, but I think that there was then the big enough gap where some of that went away, and then there was,
Yeah.
oh, you're a Passer? Are you related? Because it was, are you a cousin or
Yeah.
Not
what are
just
you?
not just known
Yeah,
that
not
you're all a
just,
family.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's the brothers type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. That's.
I mean, you
I
guys
don't
always say like it seems like you have 2 families.
Yeah.
You have
Kinda.
2 families in one.
Kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, Casey was out of the house by the time you were
Oh yeah. I mean,
intermediate school.
he left. He
Which
left to
is
go into
so
the Navy
crazy.
when I was in 5th grade, I think.
Yeah.
So I was at Northside.
Yep.
And, I mean, he graduated a year after the house on the farm was built. So then he was off to college, and then he was living on his own. So like
How old were you in fifth grade?
10?
10, is it? 11 maybe. But he was
Okay.
out of the house
'Cause
when I
think,
was 6.
I think he went in the Navy when I started with Dane County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
So, I had already been out of the house for a couple years,
Yeah.
few years.
Yeah. So I
Yeah, so
like
6 you were in
I
first
moved
grade.
out right at 18.
well, and when kids go into school
and you
too,
would
it's
have
like
been 6.
and then I'm going into school, so it's like this is my you get kind of like solo focused then.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in school, not what are the things I'm doing and whatever, that it's like you guys are out of the house doing something, and yeah,
Well, they're
it's
full
weird.
grown adults and you're
Right.
in first grade.
Right.
It'd be like you and Peyton. You're like, it's an adult to Peyton.
Kind of.
A little
He's
I'd be a little
still
younger.
You'd be a
older.
little bit younger, but I guess
Because
yeah.
you would have been probably 18,
So
19.
if I'm 12 years older than you,
So,
you would have been 6 when I was 18,
yeah. And then Casey would have been 20.
20. Yeah.
So
Sure.
a little bit
Okay, so
younger.
yeah, maybe younger, but still like your ideals of life and what you're experiencing a
Yeah.
first or a second grader
You're
to
trying to get through
an
first
adult.
and second grade, and
I'm trying to figure out my life.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to pay rent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get the stickers on my sheet every day. That's all
And
I'm
my
worried
stupid
about.
brain is like, they're trying to pay rent. Like, how do I pay rent as a first grader? I'm asking my teachers, like, do you pay rent?
That's what's weird for the difference. Like I grew up with my sister only 2 years younger than me. So every experience is shared.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
like
that's
we
weird.
had such like seemed like you guys had different experiences. Like parents were maybe different. You're also like dealing with 2 different age groups of parents and what they have learned and what
Yeah,
they're doing in
that
life
too.
and then how they're parenting at that time
Yeah, what
Like-
Yeah, a
Do you-
parent in their 30s versus a parent in their 40s.
is dramatically different.
was there? Did
Well,
you
your mom
notice
was
that?
what? 18, 19 when she had Casey?
Something like that. Yeah, 19 or 20, I
It's
think.
like you take a
So then, like 22 when you were born, probably. That's crazy.
yeah.
Did you notice them change, like when we were kids, like from how you were parented maybe to then us?
I think, which it probably was even before, Carly and you were born, but after a little while, I think you quickly realize like what are big deals and what are not big deals. What
Yeah.
really matters and what doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So a new parent, you're so worried about, do they have all their nutrients and all this other stuff, and obviously you want your kids to eat healthy and whatever, but as time goes on, here's dinner, I'm not hungry. Okay, when you are hungry, this is what you can eat.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to starve themselves. They're,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I think just kind of those little things of, what really matters and what doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the only thing I really saw was, you get in trouble at school for saying a naughty word. Yeah, you're going to tell them to knock it off, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to learn naughty words. They're going to say it. And, it turned into say it all you want when you're at home. Say it all you want when you're with your friends. Don't say it around a teacher at school. You know, it was
know
more,
the crowd.
It turns into don't say it to be smart when you're going to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. I mean, that's what real life is, right?
Exactly.
You're going to have thoughts. You can't always say your thoughts when you want to say them.
Yeah. That's what
say
I
'em
don't
when it's
get.
appropriate.
I don't get with that of like the teaching kids stuff that adults clearly do not do. It's like, what are we doing? You're not going to say naughty words. Like, you are. At some point, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to flip somebody off in the car or going to freak out or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have to know time and place. Like,
Right.
that's really the lesson
And
to
I
learn.
don't think you should allow your kindergartner to walk around the house saying the F word. No, still don't say it. But as they get to a certain age, it's
Yeah.
going to slip up and you say, ooh,
Yeah.
whoops, make sure you don't say that at school.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Do you remember the first time you swore in front of mom and dad?
No,
Like, intentionally kind of thing.
no.
I didn't start swearing in front of my parents until we moved to California.
That's weird.
Because I was like, that's just not something I do.
Yeah, I don't know that I really did much intentional swearing or, didn't care about swear words coming out probably until I moved out.
Yeah. I remember.
I didn't have that much anger until I lived on my own and had responsibilities. That's when the anger really sets in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you realize what it's
Yeah.
all about.
You get a job and you have your own responsibilities. That's when the anger really
Yeah.
digs deep.
Oh my
Before the anger was, mom woke me up too early,
God. Right.
or
Right.
the clothes that I wanted washed didn't get washed.
Yeah.
Which
Isn't that
is
so
funny?
funny?
Like, as a kid, though, that is such a dramatic
Yeah.
thing. And now thinking about it, you're like,
Yep.
well, why didn't you wash them?
I had
Or like, why
plans
didn't
to
you?
wear these specific pants with this specific shirt tomorrow at school,
Yeah.
and I can't.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why kids nowadays wear their pajamas to school.
Right.
Yeah. No kidding.
That's what we call a callback.
Yeah.
They can't, they can't count on getting the wash done.
Yeah. You don't seem like somebody that does the motivation thing.
Does the
Like,
motivation.
What do you
not
mean?
it's not in your DNA. Like, I can't imagine you, like, you have a job interview and you're like, all right, I gotta get pumped up for this. Or like there's in school you were going to a game and you're like, okay, I gotta get jacked up. Or
Or if you're like
anything.
needing to start something new, it
Like-
seems like I just have to do it and I do it.
yes.
Yeah, I think if you're starting something new, and I don't know what the real phrase is, but I've always kind of thought that the best way to start something is to just start. Obviously, you can certain things, if it's a hobby or whatever, you can do your research and, watch YouTube videos or whatever it is, but at some point, just do it,
Yeah.
As far as like motivation, with sports, I mean, that's what the practices are for, is to prep you for the competition. So once it's the day, the night, the hour of the competition, well, there's nothing else I can do now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna scream. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
go meditate. I'm not gonna. That wasn't me. I mean,
Right.
people obviously do that and they use it, but there's nothing I can do now to make me better or more prepared
Yep.
at this
Yeah.
moment than what I've already done for practice. And I'm not the greatest example because I've always felt that I've had a lot of certain talents, but I never had a lot of the motivation You know?
Sure.
So I could go run the hurdles, sure, but I didn't put a ton of effort into a lot of those things. I was in it for the fun
Yeah.
of it. I was never in it to be the best at it. So
Yeah.
no, I want to do sports because I want to hang out with my friends and be active and see how well I am and push myself. But I was never, motivated enough or cared enough to be the best at that thing.
I can't even comprehend that.
Like when
And
Like,
maybe that's lazy, but like
I don't
I
think
like to do a bunch of different things,
it's,
but
yeah.
I can't think of anything at the moment that I want to be the best at this thing.
well, and
I don't think that's lazy.
I don't think it's lazy. I think even because you take it to more, right now examples or like adult examples where it's like you wake up and, oh my God, I don't want to go to work. And it's like there's people that will have to like talk themselves up to be able to go do that. And it seems like you don't rely on that. Like that's never been a tool, if you will, in your tool belt. I think it just seems like you're like,
It's
yeah, I
logic.
just got to do it.
Yeah.
You're very logical, analytical. It's like, well, it doesn't matter what I feel about it. I'm just gonna go do it. To where people are like, which I think is more a negative than a positive. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this, and I have to like pump myself up, or I have to like, why am I feeling this way, and why am I doing this, or why can't I just like go to work and be fine? You're just like, whatever, I'll go do it, like that, or work. Like people have such a hard time working out, and they have to like, I gotta have the playlist, I gotta have like the
Sure.
music on in the car, I gotta have the pre-workout, I gotta do this. And you're like, no, you just go work out.
Yeah. I felt like I always thought I lived in kind of a gray area, but as I get older, I feel like I'm a little more black and white on certain things. I mean, and maybe that's one of them of, okay, I'll set my alarm for 5:30 because I want to wake up and get the cup of coffee and get my mind right for the day. I'd rather just sleep that extra hour and then just
Wing it.
get going,
Go for
just muddle through the first hour
Yeah.
and get into it. I don't, and same like the preparation for, any sporting event or anything like that. Either you're already ready for it or you're not.
Right. Yeah.
But that's, some people find a lot of benefit in, getting up an extra half an hour and doing yoga or, sitting and watching the news or whatever it is to get their mind right before diving into work. And me personally, I think, well, that I might as well just start working.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and I think I've noticed for myself, it's almost like I'm not good at motivating myself. I just start to
Spiral.
spiral.
Yeah.
It's like, no, just don't think about it and just go do it. It's like the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, well, why am I doing this?
Well, and then once you
Should I just
start
quit this
doing
job?
it, do you find that you've just lost track and now you're totally into it?
When I what?
Like
Like,
when you start doing the
yeah.
action.
Instead of
Oh.
just, I'm motivating myself and now, boom, 7 a.m., I'm in it, versus, or I just start at 6:30 and by 7, I'm already into it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Because
you can either maybe just start slow and eventually you'll get into it. I mean, this is a stupid example, but when the dishes need to be done.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to sit there and look at them and try to psych myself up to do the dishes. Or do I just fill the sink, start washing them, and after the first 10, now
I'm
an
just
hour
washing the
later you
dishes.
have the kitchen clean.
exactly. Yeah. That's totally
Yep.
how I
Yeah,
work.
that's
It's
more how I am.
shut off the brain and then just go do the thing, because it's really just that initial. I've noticed for me too. So it's like you're making this so fucking drama
Yeah.
and bullshitty and whatever, and then it's like you just turn the water on and all of a sudden it's like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like this was not a big deal.
Yep,
It's like the stepping off the curb.
You turn it into this giant. I wish I could be more structured in that sense of, you set your calendar of, today I'm starting laundry at this time and I'm gonna get laundry done, then I'm starting dishes. I wish I was like that because it seems so productive and organized,
Right.
but I can't do it
No.
because I would look at that calendar and it would turn 8 a.m. and say, time to put in laundry. And I would tell that calendar to go fuck itself because I'm
Yeah.
not ready to do laundry yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be ready when I'm ready. And maybe it's stubborn or whatever, but
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I'd almost look at it and go like, I wrote this out and I'm still pissed that this is telling me what to do.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be told what to do.
that's why I'm not good at writing out workout plans because
Yeah.
I don't follow them. I may follow it for a few days or maybe a week because it was a week-long plan and I'm going to follow this plan.
Yep.
But then eventually I go, well, that is great on paper, but right now it says I'm due for a chest workout. I'm not feeling chest.
Yep.
So I'm not going to do a shitty chest workout. I'm feeling this. I'd rather do a good deadlift workout versus a bad chest workout.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe it's right or wrong. Probably wrong.
No,
But
But if it
I'm
works
also
for you,
not
it works for
competing
you.
for anything.
exactly. Well, I think that's the intention of it. It's like, if you have this super specific goal, then yeah, maybe it doesn't work. But like, if you're just doing it for general health, it's always going to be better to do something that you're interested in and what you're wanting to do. That's what's going to keep you going. I think that's why people stop so often is they get such a specific workout program or eating program or whatever. And it's like the one day that comes that they're like, yeah, I don't want to do chest, or I have this crazy hit workout scheduled for today. And it's like, I was up with the kids till midnight because so-and-so was puking or something. And I'm supposed to do a fucking hit workout. Like, there's no way. And then they just end up falling off the wagon because it's, well, I couldn't do this one. Now what's the point of doing any of them?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're too specific. Like, if you're just doing it for general health, any activity is good. If you're doing chest every single day, there's enough studies to show that there's a radiation effect of
Yeah.
activity. Like, your chest isn't going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger and everything else is teeny tiny. There's a spectrum of that happening, but like, that's still what the guy who's got the ginormous upper body and the twig legs is still in better health
He's still active.
than
yeah.
Than most
active.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
than a lot of people.
Yep. That's one thing I think was good about CrossFit when I did that for a while was you showed up to a gym and you didn't know what you were doing until you showed up.
Mm.
You saw it written on the wall and you went, shit, this
Yeah.
is not what I wanted to do today. But you did it because
Yeah.
that was your workout. And afterwards you went, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that what I think was the greatest benefit to me was I couldn't just switch and do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what did I feel like doing or what do I like doing?
Yep.
It was nope, this is what you're doing. You're running a lot today.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, obviously you feel that sense of,
Yeah.
accomplishment
And then
Especially
you've
probably-
proven to yourself, I can do things even if I don't want
Right.
to do it.
And,
like,
you
I'll
know,
show up.
that comfort zone, if you can try to do things that take you out of your comfort zone once in a while, I think that's important, even if
Yeah.
it's, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if it's running on a floaty in the lake,
Tearing
a
a
hamstring.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
But you did it.
You won't do it again,
Yeah.
but you did it.
You did it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm the opposite with the scheduling thing or with that kind of stuff. I will get more drained, I guess, and maybe that's a dramatic word, of the decisions versus if I just have it written out and I know what I'm going to do, I can execute and just like go into the day, this is what I have to go, boom, 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 boom. Even if I don't want to do it, it's still, well, I don't have to figure out, I have like pre-decided what's the best route for me to do this versus in the moment, now I'm going to go, well, does it make more sense to do dishes first or to get this done? And like, what's the best approach to do that? I'll spiral of what
Yeah.
the best order is versus like, oh, I'll figure it out beforehand and then do it. Workout. I will know what I'm going to do.
So you'd rather, if you could find one that was a 365-day workout plan, that's what you would do. Because you don't have to think at all. You just go in, that's the next day, I'm doing that.
That's called Cheney. He tells me what I do every day.
That's pretty much it.
So it's 365 with that. I wouldn't want to do it.
But does it bother you to know that he doesn't know what you're doing the next day until the next day comes and he just wings it?
No, because his understanding of it is deeper than mine. So I can trust his information of
Sure.
he knows, well, this is what you need to do and this is what's going to benefit this and this is our goal right now. So then you're going to do this. I just don't have the the knowledge enough to wing it
And
as
he
much.
likes it because you have to follow it, but he doesn't. So those who can't do teach.
yeah, 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 exactly.
No, we mix it up too much with the working out to
We
do a
tend
full
to do
year.
like 6-week program, 8-week, like, and we'll follow it pretty well. And then it's like we usually trail for a couple weeks of just doing random, maybe a month, random shit. And then we'll like, well, what are you feeling like doing? Should we do like right now? Well, when we go back, we did a kind of like a practice day of it. We're gonna do more like athletic performance type stuff, just because like
I've never done that.
you've never done that, and it's that like sprinter thing of when's the last time you've sprinted? It's like when's the last time you've done ladder drills and like frog jumps
Yeah.
and
Medicine ball throws.
Yep,
If
that
you can
sort of
keep
shit.
up with those things. I mean, that to me, that is where the longevity comes into play. That's where health into your later years come
Mhm.
into play. Where I understand the appeal of a water aerobics for an older generation, but that's almost zero gravity,
Right.
zero
Mhm.
resistance, and that's great for your joints, your mobility. But wouldn't
That's
it be
one piece of the puzzle.
wouldn't it be better for you to say, no, take your dining room chair, sit down and stand up 20 times?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because that's what you're going to do every day for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
Yeah. No
is
kidding.
sit down and stand up. Go
Mhm.
up and down a set of stairs 20 times because that's what you're going to do every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not underwater with a foam weight.
Right.
There's benefits to both, but what's most important?
Yeah.
You to be able to live your functional life the rest of your life, putting a gallon of milk into the refrigerator and taking it back out.
Yep.
Those are the things that you're going to do the rest of your life. You're not going to be in a pool lifting zero weight in a pool the rest of your life.
And I think that's why cardio's kind of getting unpopular now, because when are you running for 2 miles in your daily life, or when you're 80?
Right.
It's like you're not doing that. You're all the things you just mentioned. That's
Yeah.
what you're doing. So
Do enough cardio that you would need to live your life out.
yeah.
Mhm.
Whether that's a walk around the block.
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't need to jog a mile.
No.
That's not. Take that jog, move it to a walk, and do a little weight resistance because
Yep.
muscle mass is huge when you get older.
Yeah.
Well, when I taught my
Yeah.
silver sneakers class, our
That's
room.
hilarious.
I loved
that
it.
you taught silver sneakers.
That's the name of it.
Oh.
We know what silver is, and it ain't about the sneakers.
Yeah, that is true.
But our room was on the second floor of the gym, and it's like the problem is you're not getting out of breath walking up. It's your proprioception and your ability to take step after step and know that I can go up these stairs, or
Yep.
you're gonna walk out into the parking lot and you can step off the curb. That's not much to do with your cardio, but it's like your awareness of being able to like hold your body weight,
Yeah.
and be able to not fall and to land properly, and then again not fall. Like that's where they're gonna start to fall, break a hip, and then studies show like 5 years after that you're probably not gonna make it.
Falling
Yep.
when you're older is
It's like a death
a
sentence, basically.
huge thing. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why, weirdly, I think dancing is super beneficial as you're older or
Yeah.
continuing, is just that footwork and being able to put your foot where you want to, or knowing that proprioception.
Sure.
Because so many older people will just not step correctly, basically, and fall over, to where dancing, it's like you're actually having to step and move, and
My
you're
warm up
getting
with them
challenged.
was always like putting on music from their generation, because
Oh,
that's also
sure.
the music that
Yeah.
I like. So I
You're
was
gonna
like,
play Missy Elliott.
yeah,
to the,
I was like, no,
the
this
silver
God.
shoe
yeah,
crowd.
no.
That's just for like a TikTok video, just to get some laughs.
Well, and I think that's a dance class is more beneficial than a water aerobics class
I
Sure.
agree.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to twist, you're going to step at the same time.
Mhm.
Yep.
You're going to bend your knee at a weird angle
Mhm.
Yeah.
versus zero gravity.
Yeah.
Just
Treading
doing arm
water.
circles.
Arm circles.
There's benefits to both, but if you're going between one or the other, I would say take a dance class
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
for
the,
sure.
the water aerobics thing too, or just like the swimming in general, it's like it works every muscle in your body. And it's like, yeah, it does.
In a way,
But like So does deadlifts. So does squats.
Right?
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
The
Oh, I
one
can't
has,
deadlift. Well, you can't bend down and pick up a piece of paper
yeah,
Right.
from the floor.
Right.
yeah,
Do a body weight deadlift.
yep,
Big
exactly.
deal.
Yeah,
Well, it's like I think of my grandparents. Like they still have a basement. Like they still need to
Yeah.
come up and down the stairs, or she
Yeah.
has all of her storage and totes downstairs. You need to be able to get the totes off
Yeah.
the shelf and then carry them upstairs if you need to, and not have to call someone over to be able to do that.
Yep.
That starts to become limiting if you're not focusing on your health. That I think that's where the brain starts to deteriorate, because you go, okay, well now I can't do the basic things that I used to be able to do. So now I'm feeling the age. I'm feeling that I'm getting
Yeah.
older because I can't take a tote off a shelf.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
that just starts to like, oh, well now I'm old and now I can't do this and now I shouldn't do that, or people tell me that I can't do that. That's like it's basic life movements.
And
Yeah.
and that's more important. If
Yeah.
do the things that are going to assist you with living out the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's I.
No one's asking you to do anything crazy.
No. Well,
You
and it's
know?
like, be realistic too. I mean, I'm 26 and I've already accepted that. I'm like, my goal is to.
So Cheney gave up at 26.
Yeah, it's like, I just don't have the ambition to like, let's get a bigger chest. It's like, why? Who cares? I'm not trying to impress anybody.
Right.
There's nobody that cares. Like, even if I'm like, I bench this much, somebody's like, great, that's fantastic. It's like, I want to live a long time,
You've
be able to
turned
move.
you've turned into Nick Schwartzen. As long as you can lift a gallon of milk,
Yeah.
you're a superhero.
Exactly.
There's been like
Nicholas.
5 times where you're like, okay, I'm gonna bulk again. Like I'm gonna get big, and it'll last for half a week. And you're like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this?
Like, this is
For
dumb.
what?
But I
My
think
tummy hurts.
I think those are still I think those are still beneficial. I think those, even if they're short-lived,
They're fun goals.
the quick little goal of I'm going to push myself to see if I can still do this.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, you may not, I'm going to walk into the gym and try to deadlift 500 pounds. No, but you could say, you know what? I'm going to bulk and I'm going to see if I can do it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to eat X amount of calories and I'm going to only do heavy lifts. And after a couple months and you've increased and you got thick,
Yeah.
you go, cool, I did it. But it didn't really hurt your health either.
Right.
If you do it correctly.
right?
You don't do what was that?
Like if you're strictly saying I want to get to 240 pounds,
yeah.
so you go to the movie theater,
You do the
Right.
supersize me.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not doing
Yeah.
it the right way. But if you say I want to put on 15 pounds of weight and then lift 100 more pounds of weight, well,
Mhm.
you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's my interests have just gone more to like what we're going to be doing soon is like the athletic performance. Like, I haven't done that in forever. Let's do that.
Mhm.
Or I've never done a kettlebell program and only limited myself to kettlebells. So then it's like we created a whole kettlebell thing and only did kettlebells for like
Mm-hmm.
we've done that.
That was, I mean,
more
I have
recently
not
than-
seen change like that in my physique like we did with the kettlebells.
It's
It-
just because it was so different.
And sometimes it is just something different.
Yeah.
That hits a different
Yeah.
spot or does something that your body has never done. I mean, change is what grows people.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's weightlifting or
Right.
anything else.
Yeah.
You start to learn about a certain topic, you've grown yourself in
Yep.
a certain way.
Mhm.
You're opening up to new ideas and
Well, and that was around the same time too, where we tried the kettlebell, and then we kept running that program, and we, you tweaked it a little bit, but then we started eating
Yeah.
carnivore.
Sure.
So like for the first time, I'm actually tracking my protein,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
was grossly under eating
protein.
protein.
Yeah.
So it's like, so now I'm actually hitting my protein targets, and we're doing these workouts and moves. Like we're doing we're doing
lateral
lunge.
Those suck.
Those
Yeah,
suck.
which of course
Yeah.
we're never gonna do them because
My
I
Save your
hated them.
hammies, though.
but
My
they were
legs have
programmed.
never grown bigger than from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I'm eating the correct amount of protein and lifting in new ways. Yeah, some
Well,
shit's gonna change.
And then on the diet portion of it, you say, boy, I'm grossly under protein for my daily value. But then it helps you do a little extra research and find out, holy crap, this has a lot of protein in it. Sunflower seeds have an amazing amount of protein.
Yep.
I never eat sunflower
Mhm.
seeds, and I love them.
Yep.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
can get all the salty deliciousness I want and have protein.
Yeah.
So again, it grows you. You tried
Yeah.
something new and you grew a knowledge or a strength in a way that you didn't know existed.
And then
Yeah.
you apply it to the next program or the next thing you're doing.
Right.
It's like
Yep.
programs after this is like it's gonna be hard not to have kettlebells in because it's like
Sure.
we had so much fun doing
Yep.
it, or even just lateral lunge. It's like that just was
Blew up both of our legs.
crazy.
And it helps you find a way to maybe do something that you always hated to do in the past. So, I hate working shoulders because shoulders are always weak and there's no fun lifts to do it. But maybe you found a kettlebell lift that you love doing that works your shoulders. Now I'm doing kettlebells for my shoulder workout, but I can still do my other stuff.
Yeah.
And say screw,
Oh,
a
sure.
standing barbell press
Yep.
for my shoulders.
It was
Yeah.
funny. Her dad just told us the other day. He's like, I was doing the kettlebell thing that we had done and had sent him, and he's like, I went into the gym and did chest press, and he's like, somehow my bench is better.
Yep.
It's like there's barely any chest press in that program. Like there's not a whole. It's so much more just like full body movements. He's like, and now my chest is stronger. I don't know how that happened.
Yep. Maybe something he did increased his shoulder strength or his
Yeah.
tricep strength,
Yep.
and now his chest press is higher
Yeah.
because you incorporated shoulders and triceps.
Mhm.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
And that's so not the way you think about it. It's like my chest is. I want it to be stronger. I need to do more chest, or I need to find other ways to do
Yep.
it. You don't ever think like, let's kill shoulders for
Yep.
3 months. Let's kill triceps for 3
The
months or
calf
something.
bone is connected to the arm bone.
Yeah.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
It all has to work
Yep.
together.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I want to ask you too. What do you think is more? What has more weight? Let's say 100 people that have anecdotal evidence of this works, or one study that says it doesn't.
Oh, that's
Do you know what I'm
interesting.
asking?
Kind of.
Like, say it's like what they used to do back in the old days, basically. Somebody would kind of find something out and be like, did you know that like putting egg on your face helps
Oh, sure.
exfoliate or whatever? And that's just what all the older generation did. But
Yeah.
then a study comes out later on and says like, no, it actually doesn't do anything. But all those 100 people will die by that.
And have tested it, and it almost like proves correct.
Yeah, for them at least.
I think some of that is, I would say that there is, and not in a negative way, but there's a cult or a mob mentality to some of that. And
Yeah.
then there's also a placebo effect mentality to some of that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when people have a want or a need and they start researching, they grasp onto things that they think work or they want to work. So, and some of it may be, what's the easiest solution? What's the cheapest solution? So, my skin never looked better because I put an egg on it once a day. Well, an egg is 20 cents. I don't even know what an egg costs.
Yeah.
So
Bragging.
if I put an egg on my face once a day, it costs very little, so I can afford it, which is appealing to me.
Yeah.
And then the want of it to work, which switches your thought.
Yeah.
If you want it to work, then you may be more likely to think it is working.
Yeah.
And then the placebo effect, which is kind of the same thing of, they tell me it works, so I think I see that it's working.
Yeah.
So I think there's maybe a lot of that in there and I don't know, I'm not a scientist. I don't know any of the studies, but antidepressants, from what I hear, is a lot of placebo effect. They
Mm.
tell you this works, you take a sugar pill thinking it's an antidepressant, and you feel less depressed.
Oh.
So what is it?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of that. And like I said, the mob mentality, you get a lot of people that, someone puts out a video, egg on my face, cleared up my acne.
Yeah.
And then they go to the comments and a lot of the comments say, work for me too, work for me too, work for me too. So you're going to try it and you're going to maybe think that it worked for you too. Ooh, I think that looks a little better than yesterday.
Yeah.
So then you just keep doing it. So, but the anecdotal or scientific or the research evidence says, we've got nothing to support that this actually does anything.
Yeah.
I think there's power in both.
Yeah.
Right.
Because who's to say that if you think it's working for you and you're happy about it, why am I to tell you to stop doing it?
Right.
Unless it's harming you or someone else in a certain way.
Yeah.
But go with it then.
That's what I think. The placebo, I kind of think it's way bigger than we give it credit for.
I think it's huge because I think we don't give our minds enough credit for what we're able to do
Yeah.
with ourselves or for ourselves.
Well, and like with that
But
example,
we need that external validation
exactly.
to trigger our mind to say that we can do it
Yeah.
or fix it ourselves.
With that example, like it wouldn't surprise me if somebody putting that egg on their face, and because they feel like it's working a little bit, like whatever is going on in their brain is literally helping take the acne away as they continue to like positively validate themselves that this is working and the placebo is working. Like it wouldn't surprise me if there's legitimate evidence of, yeah, your face is clearing up, but it's maybe it doesn't have to do with the egg. It just has to do with like
You feel
you were
feeling
stressed
happy
out
about it.
Yep.
your acne,
Yep.
and now
Stress
you feel like it's
can
working.
cause that flare up, or what if it made zero difference whatsoever? You look exactly the same you looked 2 weeks ago, but in your mind you look better.
Yeah.
Why is that wrong?
Yeah, who gives
You
a shit?
feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Who cares?
That's
Who
fine.
cares?
Yep.
Everyone else in your circle can say you look the same.
Yeah.
But if you say I look better, I feel better, I think this is working, who's to say you're wrong?
Right.
Well, and then what's the trickle down effect of that too? Like, okay, so now I feel better about myself. Now maybe I'll choose better choices in my life. I'll choose to eat better or work out because now I feel like I have
Sometimes
value.
you get that
and
snowball effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, even that, like, your brain is what controls what chemicals and hormones are released. So if you think a certain thing and that makes one person that stresses someone out and one person makes you feel happy, well, that's going to be a whole body response. That if it's, I feel like I am doing something good by putting egg on my face, well, that's going to be the hormone and the response that's going to happen throughout your body. And then that's going to also chemically respond to your actual skin.
Yeah.
That's like, it would actually make a difference.
Is there a study though?
For that,
Because eggs have a ton of nutrients, so it wouldn't surprise me if
I don't
That's
know.
just something my
egg on your face probably does help.
I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't.
I'm not
I
gonna
didn't
do
look
it.
that up. What made me think
I mean, that's
of
a different
that,
episode.
My grandma always used to say that. Like,
Yeah,
my
well,
grandma
yeah.
has
That's where I
awesome
even
skin
knew that.
and like barely any wrinkles for her being 80 years old, and her claim to fame is she put eggs on her face, but like eggs from the farm, like use
Right.
the yolk, everything, and that was her. Like, well, yeah, I used.
Well, and isn't that like a saying for embarrassment too? You have egg on your face.
I don't know. I've never heard that
Oh.
one.
Yeah. What made me think of that was like the bodybuilding community. It's like I feel like that was so much anecdotal, like with Arnold and all of those guys coming up, that like studies weren't being run until
Yeah.
more recently.
Yep.
That's like
It was a lot of trial and error, and so and so, this is now the biggest guy. Let's do whatever he's doing.
exactly. Yeah.
Whether it was right or wrong, whether he died at 40 or 50.
Yeah. And that's why
Do
I
it.
thought
He
was,
looks like that. I want to look like that.
Right.
I'll do whatever he does.
Yep.
that's what I think is so cool about them, and that whole thing was just like, Arnold with the mind muscle connection, and then the like, you gotta confuse your muscle. Like go in one day, and if you've been doing 3x15, 4x15, like go do 6 sets of 5 now.
Yep.
And it's
Mhm.
like just mix it up, make your muscle not know what's happening. It's like
But then he says drink beer and not milk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even those techniques too. It's like, have they haven't really studied, and maybe they have now, but like they weren't really studying when you're doing a lateral raise to like pretend like you're pouring out milk, and that's
Yep.
going to activate the
Yeah.
lateral delt more. It's like,
Yep.
but not everybody's doing that. and
Twist at the end.
everybody's having that idea that this makes it work better, and now it's like everybody's got boulder shoulders. It's like, so was it placebo? Was it just like,
Mm.
is that actually true? Or like the ass to grass community with squats versus like only go to 90, you're going to hurt your knees. And it's like that whole community is just so anecdotal. Like there's not a ton of studies about that. Maybe
And
because they're hard to.
Probably like everything else, there's a truth somewhere in between all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, we're more of like a look into studies, but it's also what's common sense.
Yeah.
And everyone is so different that studies are great because it shows the results of a specific group of people. But even if you take 1,000 people and do a study, that's so small comparative to the billions of people that are on Earth. So, you know, use a study, try something else, look at a different study, and find out what works for you individually, because this study might have worked for you, so I'm going to go off every study this company has done. But the next study may not work for you.
Right.
Just because the one did, maybe the other one doesn't. So, you know, I always tried to be flexible and try different things. And even if the consensus was this works, if it wasn't seeming to work for me, then I'll try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem that I have with the study thing too, is studies and doctors are always so late. Like, unless it's studied in hard proof, they're not going to push that kind of information out. You know, it's like we did an episode on raw milk versus like pasteurized. And kind of going to what you're saying of like, don't have the information bias of, well, I want this one to work. So I was trying to check with myself, like, do I just want raw milk to work and be what you should do? Because I already have these biases of like, nothing should be fucked with, and that's what we should be consuming. But then you go look at studies, and they all sway so much towards pasteurized milk. But then there's like this one outlier, and then there's like a second outlier. And it's like, okay, well, if I just went tit for tat, pasteurized milk has more studies that go towards them. But then the common sense part of me goes, I have all this bias towards natural, don't mess with it.
That's big milk.
And then I have that it's like, it's big everything. Like,
did pasteurized milk do more studies because they have more money and companies that are behind the studies?
Exactly. And
People
it's like,
need it to be promoted more?
Right.
And
what studies are you supposed to trust?
Yeah.
You know, you have a billion dollar corporation that can afford to have 1,000 different studies versus a mom and pop who says, I don't do any studies.
Right.
But I'm 90 years old and I drank this milk
right
from a cow my entire life.
Yeah. And then we looked up like the history of it and like why did they start doing it and how did they start doing that and all that kind of stuff. And you start to form your own opinion or idea around it. But you're trying to take all of these points, the studies, the anecdotal evidence, the like, what do you already feel about it? And it's like, that all just ends up coming back to me of like, well, the placebo.
Yeah.
If you're drinking pasteurized milk thinking like, I should not be drinking this, it's probably going to have weird effects on you. If you're drinking the raw milk.
You get a weird gurgle and you instantly go, it's the milk.
It's the milk.
It's pasteurized.
Exactly. Yep. That, I don't know. All of that stuff is so hard to dissect because there's too many factors a lot of the time.
Then I think everyone should just go into everything blindly. If you feel good, keep doing it. If you don't feel good, don't do it. Don't read studies.
Yeah. What works for you? What works for you?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's
this is
why
my opinion. It does not reflect the opinion of the podcast or the podcast association.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, everyone's different, so
there is truth to it.
Do
though.
what you want to do, what makes you feel good, as long as it's not harming you or someone else.
Well, it's like we can pull up every study that shows you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't drink, it's poison to your body. But then
my grandpa lives till like 98 years old and had
beer every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
We
it's
talk
also
about
he's having a good close to the night every single night.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like able to have like, okay, so this is the one thing I can count on every single day. It's a consistency. It's probably not good for my body, but what are the chemicals being released? He's happy.
Yep.
He
we
ends
talk
the day
about
being
this
happy.
with deer hunting. Like every study shows that the deer can smell your fart 4 miles away. Yet
Yeah.
my dad can have a cigarette in his mouth while he shoots a deer 10 yards away.
Yeah.
So the deer didn't smell the cigarette smoke 10 yards away, but these deer are sniffing out, you
Yep,
know,
your
the
butthole.
next county over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to, I don't know, it's hard to pick and choose what's right, what's wrong, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Live
And
your life, be happy,
Yeah.
be healthy.
Well, it's just like, just lie to yourself all the time. That's all
Yeah,
I'm coming to
there
is
you go.
like, I could be pissed about this, but why don't you just go like, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Is lying to yourself is a placebo effect,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's like,
Exactly.
You get mad and you just smile and say, I don't care about this. You probably now are less mad.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep. We've been
Yeah.
talking about that so much. We should probably edit on here too, because Carly's probably gonna come on. But like, just saying like, I want to be this type of person now, and then just telling yourself like, I'm gonna be someone that doesn't get mad at that. I'm gonna be someone that
Yeah.
cares a lot about that, or not, or I'm just gonna be, I can go into those conversations open minded and whatever. I think just deciding that for yourself and going, I'm gonna change.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start thinking that way.
Well, and like we were talking about earlier, don't sulk in drama it. Like, just go, I'm this now. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't
I'm
have to go
someone
like,
that doesn't get mad
how
at
do I
this.
become that person that does this thing and is cool and isn't emotional and that does the dishes right away? It's like, just fucking do the dishes right away.
Open-ended question though. What if part of you enjoys the anger?
Hey.
Hey,
you're
slow
s-
clap for Corey.
Yeah.
Good job.
You're speaking to the choir. There is not a better emotion to me than anger. It's better than happiness. Now,
You can be happy and angry at the same time.
yeah.
You can be happy that you're angry.
You ever driven in a large city?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You ever driven through Atlanta?
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I mean, I think that's, yeah. It's just, is the anger productive? Because, I don't know if
Sometimes.
you're the same thing, but like, anger is rooted in my bones. Like, it is a part of my DNA. Like, it comes from, like, family on up. Like, everyone has anger issues, I guess. That's like, okay, do you sit into that and can that motivate you or like push you forward into certain things? And what is just not productive and not effective? And like, what are you getting angry about or getting emotional about that's like, you know, because we talk about for you all the time, like when you were younger and you throw temper tantrums and you walk off the field. Like, there's no version of that to me that's appropriate and that's okay to do and whatever. So then it's like, okay, so then as a kid or even now, go and like, okay, I'm not gonna be mad at that. Move on and like
Yeah.
figure out a way to do that. And do you just tell yourself that?
Well, and I think, but there's plenty of kids that get angry and then they go like, okay, here we go. It's not, I think the problem with the anger is just sulking in it and letting it drag on and then having
Yes.
it affect other people. It's like, if you fucking tear your hamstring, it's like, you can be pissed, but then like, don't be an asshole to everybody else the rest of the day because your hamstring tore or something. It's
I
like,
think anger can be productive.
Yes.
I mean, it's like
yes.
every
Yes.
every other emotion. Like joy can be counterproductive at times.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
head in the clouds.
Sadness can be productive and counterproductive. Anger can be productive and counterproductive.
Yeah.
You know, you lash out in anger, and maybe it's not physical violence, which is not productive and not appropriate, but you know, you have anger, but you know what? Maybe you said something that you have needed to say for a long time, and you only said it because you're angry.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. It's
Yeah.
how you feel. And maybe a resolution something is resolved because of that anger. I think it's like every other emotion. It needs to be checked,
Yeah.
but there's positives and negatives to both of it.
And I think it's that as long as you're not perpetually in that all the time, it's like you can be angry and that be productive. But if you're only angry, if people go like, oh, I know that guy, he's just angry all the time. It's like, well, now it's not productive. Now it's not whatever. If you have
My
that,
face is always angry.
yeah, I don't have a very like, I have to practice that. I teach kids. I have to like, hi. This looks like creepy clown face. That's how I feel.
I always have a scowl, regardless of. Tanya and I talked about this last night, that it takes me effort to not scowl, and then I just get bug-eyed because I'm trying not to.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is just, and maybe I need new prescription. It's always sunny. Like
Something simple.
But my eyebrows and my forehead do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But I'm also, unless I know you or am drinking, I'm also a quiet person. So I'm quiet and I scowl. Instantly, I'm an angry person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I am.
Most of the time, I'm an angry person. But that's just my face.
Do you think that that's the... I feel like we're the same that way. It's like just generally displeased and humor. Those are the two emotions we just kind of go back and forth between. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would almost say that I am generally pleased.
But your face doesn't show it.
But yeah, my face doesn't show it. A lot of humor.
Yeah.
I can find a lot of humor in a lot of things.
Yeah. Our family has a really good sense of humor.
Dark.
We can laugh about anything.
And I think the humor thing is also like a, I don't know if do you think it's a, how do I say, like,
Say it. It's a defense mechanism.
Is it? Is it?
I don't
Because
think it is
for me.
Well,
I don't think it is
I
for me
don't
either.
understand the humor thing at all. I don't attempt. I don't want to be funny. If you're laughing at me, you're thinking I'm
I think
stupid.
sarcasm is used as a defense a lot.
Got it.
I don't know that the humor is, because I think the humor comes out naturally. I think the sarcasm is when it becomes a little defensive.
Got it. Okay.
And I don't know, without concrete examples, how to describe it more.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be having a bad time, and when there's conversation going on that's like clearly not fun, I'm immediately like, where's the joke? Where's the joke? Where can I like break the tension?
Yep. I'm either where's the joke or I leave, because I know that a joke isn't going to break it. The people that are currently in that conversation are going to ignore or be annoyed by my joke and just continue on anyway.
That's
so
true.
there's a certain, like, it's gone so far, a joke isn't going to disperse this conversation.
Yeah.
It's maybe going to anger them more,
yeah.
or they ignore it and I should just see myself out.
Yeah.
which then that's another element that's kind of funny, is like you're just telling jokes to yourself and nobody's listening to them.
Yeah.
And you maybe even are saying them out loud, or
Yeah.
like we have such a big family that's like somebody will hear you
Yeah.
and they'll be like, what? And you're just like, I don't know.
And I think, I don't know, I like that stuff because
It's also a little,
then if
little taboo.
if no one gives you anything, then you just go, anyone? No? All right. You self high five yourself,
Yep.
and then you leave the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a moment where it's like nothing's gonna help here.
I always felt like I could do comedy, but I can't write jokes.
No.
I need a bunch of drinks and then a conversation.
Yep.
And then I'll just make a bunch of inappropriate comments to make people laugh.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that I thought about the same thing, because we listen to so much comedy and comedy podcasts and stuff, and I'm like, could I do this? And it's like, I could do the podcast thing. We're conversational funny.
Sure.
We're not like stand up.
I could
funny.
not. Even if someone wrote all the jokes for me, I couldn't just
Do the cadence or have the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
But
No.
the comedians talk about that. They're
Especially if they weren't even mine.
like, yeah.
Well,
well,
that
yeah.
too. It's like
Yeah.
it's not even your
And I think,
humor, your
I think
intelligence.
some of that comes out like when you watch roasts, because you know that roasts, a lot of people have theirs written for them.
Yeah.
Unless they're already doing a lot of stand-up.
Yeah.
But you can just see that they're just reading a joke,
Yep.
and it bombs, not because it's a bad joke, but they don't know how to read it.
No, and it's
or
not in
read
their
a room,
phrasing or
or-
words
Yeah.
or.
Yeah.
But that's what comedians say all the time. Like, the funniest person they know is not a comedian.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
like a guy that they hang out with all the time.
All these stand-up comedians are like, dude, so and so's funnier than me.
Yeah.
But you
What
would
does he
never
do?
get him
He's
on
an
stage.
accountant.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yep.
Yep.
You put him on stage with written material, he would suck.
Yeah.
But it's just that like off the cuff observational stuff.
Mhm. But you put him on stage and he freezes.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Or it's just like
Yeah.
that's not his wheelhouse. It's like
Yeah.
it's off the cuff. Like you're quicker than everybody, or like you just think of the thing right. That's why I get so impressed with Mark Norman. I'm
Yeah.
like, how are you so fast? It's like as he's saying it, I'm like, and then it finishes. I'm like, how did you think of that in 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
I would have thought of that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have said that.
yes.
I'm one of those guys. Oh, I should have said that yesterday when they said this.
My favorite podcast moment is the Protect Our Parks. Have you watched that or listened to that? With Rogan and Ari Shaffir, Shane Gillis, Mark Norman.
I think I've seen parts of it.
There's this one moment where they're talking about the Holocaust, and Ari's Jewish, so he's like, I just don't get why people 6 million people. He's like, that's a ton of people. But even if it was like 60,000, that's still a lot of people. He's like, why do people deny it or whatever? And then Rogan's like, yeah, and the fact that it was like just over kind of nothing, and Mark just goes, well, they're annoying. And it was just how did you go so quickly into that? Like, you had to have been thinking or already think that they're annoying or something. I don't even know, but it was just like he's so fast. It was the best.
And still doing
It
the
was my favorite moment.
the glasses moment.
Yeah,
Well, they're
With the
annoying.
glasses. It's like, well, they're annoying, and then everybody's just busting up laughing in there, and yeah, it was great.
That's something I want to talk about when Carly gets here, like the humor with your family. I don't have that at all. And I don't know if it's my family doesn't have that. That's not something that we
Your dad does.
prioritize. My dad was the funny person.
Your dad does in private.
He was the, we're having a family fight, I'll break it with a joke. To where I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Now that's
Oh, yeah.
bothering me.
Yeah.
To where
Well,
if I'm,
That's
it's a me problem. I get it. But
that's ladies.
it is. But to me, like,
And that's where we'll end it. Thanks for joining us.
That is a good place to end.
yeah, let's pick it up with Carly with the humor
With
thing.
Yes.
more ladies.
Yeah.